So if you're intermittent fasting, what do you do when you need to go off plan? So what I found is there are going to be things in your life that are going to pop up, and they're going to be centered around eating, and it's going to happen right in the middle of your fasting window. So the question is, how do you handle that? Do you go off plan? Do you stay on plan? What do you do? And this is something I really struggled with in the beginning. And what I would inevitably do is I would say, okay, I'm not going to eat at this thing. I would get to the event and I would be fine. I wasn't really hungry, but people would pressure me. Oh, come on, eat. I feel bad. You're not eating. I don't want to eat in front of you. And then I would eat. And then I would feel guilty that I ate, because I didn't keep my word to myself. So I realized, okay, that's not sustainable. I don't want to ever feel guilty for, enjoying an event. So I heard some advice that I think is so helpful, which is basically, if you are having to make the same decision over and over again, make it once. Like, make a rule for yourself, and then it simplifies your life. You've already made that decision. You don't have to worry with it anymore. So here's my rule. If it happens less than 10% of the time, so in other words, that's slightly less than once a week, that's the maximum it can happen, then I'm going to go ahead and eat the food. I mean, this could be things like business lunches or, a family thing, a family breakfast even. And what I found is there is such a big difference, even though in either case, like let's say you say, okay, I'm not going to eat at the thing, but then you go and you eat at the thing, or you say, well, I am going to eat at the thing, and then you do eat at the thing. Either way, you've eaten the food, right? But mentally, it is so different to have the plan and to have stuck with it, even if sticking with the plan means you ate. Because it's about being intentional, and it's just really empowering when you've been intentional and you've stuck with your plan, even if your plan was to go off plan. Now, so far, I have not had anything come up in my life where it's greater than 10% of the time. And what my plan would be for that case would be to reassess and say, is it happening often enough where that needs to be when I eat my main meal? Or, is it a thing where I could make up some sort of other rule? So what does this look like practically speaking? So, let's say I have a business lunch. I eat at the event. And then at 6:30 when I normally eat supper, I eat again. And so on those days, I'll eat twice instead of just once. I don't let it become a free-for-all day. So in other words, if it's a breakfast, then I just eat the breakfast and then I don't eat again until supper. I don't say, well, I ate breakfast, so now I'm going to have lunch, and now I'm going to have snack, and now I'm going to have supper. One thing that I don't do, and it's an option, it's a valid option, is to just have my one meal be at that event. But, especially in the beginning of all this, I really found that to be too challenging. I wanted this to always feel very easy. So it's super easy to just eat twice instead of once. It's a little bit harder to, say if you eat the business lunch and then you have to wait until tomorrow's supper. That's over a 24-hour fast, which a lot of people would agree is pretty challenging. And ultimately, my decision was I want it to be easy. And so if that means I have to sacrifice speed of weight loss, then that's what I'm going to do. And that's what's worked for me. Now, one thing I would say is now that I'm so used to intermittent fasting, if it was just a later supper, let's say the event's at 8 o'clock, nowadays I would say I'm just going to make that my first and only meal because it's just easier for me. But in the beginning, I still needed, even if we were going to be eating at 8, I still needed to eat at 6. And, and I was okay with that. Again, it was all about being comfortable and not making this too challenging. So that's what I do when I need to go off plan. Yes, I go off plan occasionally, and it's always on purpose, and that's what works for me. So I'm curious to know, do you go off plan? Have you formulated a plan, or do you take it on a case-by-case basis? Have you learned how to just not eat in front of people? I still struggle with that one. I would just rather everybody feel good and not make me feel guilty, and so I'm just going to eat with everybody else. Okay, thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below.